Here we go again. Another developer calling out the Xbox Series S. All right, guys, before we get into this, my goal is to hit 10K subscribers by the end of the year, and I see a lot of you are new here. If you like daily content, you like these styles of videos, please consider hitting that subscribe button. So leading up to the release of Gotham Knights, which is actually out today, there was a lot of talk about the performance of this game. As it came out, it was going to be running at 30 frames per second. We had a technical artist come out and say one of the big reasons is because the Xbox Series S is holding back this generation, calling it a potato, even though we have seen multiple real-world examples of the Xbox Series S not holding back this generation whatsoever. Multiple 60 frames per second games, multiple 120 frames per second games that just overall run these massive open world, high fidelity games that are on the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5 very, very well for a $299 console. That is one of the biggest things when it comes to the Xbox Series S that I think a lot of people always forget about when they talk about it, is it is a $299 console. It is meant for running games at a lower resolution. It isn't supposed to be on par with the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5. And then later on throughout the week, we got the reviews and the technical specs for A Plague Tale Requiem, a game that is having less performance issues on the Xbox Series S than it is having on the PlayStation 5. Now, I made a video talking about the Rocksteady technical artist who came out with his comments, calling those comments pretty much absurd. Then I made another video talking about the PlayStation 5 and looking at the Plague Tale Requiem stuff and saying that the PlayStation 5 was the real potato, but at the same time saying all of these arguments, saying that the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox Series S are holding back this generation, make absolutely no sense. They are completely absurd. It is up to the developers to be able to optimize these games for these consoles based on everything that we have seen so far throughout this generation, when multiple games are running great across all of these platforms. And at the same time, these are big open world, very good looking games. You think about Cyberpunk 2077 and the 60 FPS patch that it has gotten for the Xbox Series S, a game that had issues releasing for the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 and just across the board on consoles. The developers went back in, they optimized the game properly, and now the game runs like a dream. So far more evidence pointing towards the issue being with the developers and the optimization of these games, more so than the actual console, the Xbox Series S, and even at times the PlayStation 5. But that isn't stopping more developers coming out and making claims against the Xbox Series S. So this all started from a Jeff Gerstmann tweet. Jeff Gerstmann saying here, the whole Series S is holding back next-gen games. Argument seems really broken to me. Most of these games also come to PC and already have to cover a wide variety of configs. Like, go look at the Steam hardware survey sometimes. Lots of older stuff with significant percentages. And this is always an argument we can kind of go back to when people are calling out the Xbox Series S as that console holding back the generation. You literally just need to go look at PC. You literally need to go look at the Steam stuff, like he says, and you will see a wide range of different specs that these games are optimized for. And a lot of these games run very well on weaker hardware than the Xbox Series S. So in response to that tweet, you had a VFX artist here named Ian McClure who came onto Twitter and had this to say about Jeff Gerstmann's argument on Twitter. He says, it might sound broken, but the reason you are hearing it a lot right now is because many developers have been sitting in meetings for the past year desperately trying to get Series S launch requirements dropped. Studios have been through one development cycle where Series S turned out to be an albatross around the neck of production, and now that games are firmly being developed with new consoles in mind, teams do not want to repeat the process. Now, McClure has gone on and taken off these tweets to the public. They're behind his locked account right now, it seems, and he's actually a developer who has worked on different games for the Xbox Series X and S. So he worked on I Am Fish, and that also came out on PC, which is a part of Bosa Studios, and it's also the same studio that publishes and develops for Surgeon Simulator series. So he has worked on games before, and he is a developer of some sort that can comment on this type of stuff. And I'm not saying that he's lying, but when at the end of the day, when one developer at a random studio here and a random studio there comes out and makes these claims about the Xbox Series S, it is something that people love to take and run with it as a major reason as to why games are not performing well this generation. When in reality, if you sit back and you take a look at everything that has been released so far on the Series X, the Series S, and the PlayStation 5, there is far more evidence pointing towards the fact that the issue when games aren't running well is from the side of optimization and from the side of the developers more so than the actual console itself. In fact, we have even more evidence with the technical reviews of Gotham Knights. So there's been technical reviews across the board from Digital Foundry, from IGN, from El Analista de Bits, where we are showing here that there are less frame rate issues, less stutters on the Xbox Series S than there are on the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5. And yes, you can argue the Series S runs these games at a lower resolution. It doesn't have ray tracing. It doesn't have the high graphics fidelity that these other consoles have, but that is literally the point of the Xbox Series S. It's to give you those AAA experiences with not the same high graphics fidelity, graphics quality of the Series X and the PlayStation 5. The job is for the developer to make sure that the games that do release on the Series S, even with those lower settings, are optimized so that you can play them, you can have fun, and that there is a steady frame rate. And you can see this happen across the board in so many different titles, even so much so with Gotham Knights right now. And if you remember Plague's Tale Requiem, the same thing happened there, where the Series S outperformed the PlayStation 5, the Series X outperformed the PlayStation 5. So from that logic, although again, these are absurd arguments, the PlayStation 5 is the potato because it is the one that wasn't optimized properly. So all this to be said, this stuff is continuously happening. This stuff, it will happen throughout the generation. Every single time there is an issue with a game, something has to be blamed. And it seems like the Xbox Series S for some of these developers is the easy out for them to blame as to what is holding things back, when in my opinion, there's so much more evidence towards the contrary. And I'm not just trying to blindly stand up for the Xbox Series S. If in a year from now, if in 2 years from now, we start seeing multiple games have issues, and then we start seeing multiple developers come out and prove and show that it is the Xbox Series S's fault, I will 100% reevaluate my opinion on this. But as of right now, I just don't think there is nearly enough evidence to point towards the Series S being the issue for the performance issues of some of these games, with all of the previous games, like I've said multiple times, that have come out and have ran properly. And on top of that, the lower specs on PC that these games are able to be optimized for and able to be ran on. But that's it for me, guys. What are your thoughts on this? What do you think about all the stuff with the Xbox Series S going on now? Do you believe these developers that are coming out? Are you like me and you're seeing more evidence that is contrary to what they are saying? What are your thoughts on Gotham Knights? Are you still going to play this game after the reviews and all that type of stuff? If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. If you're new here, you liked what you saw, consider hitting that subscribe button. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for your support, and I'll catch you in the next video.